They say nothing lasts forever. Eras come to an end, and all we'll have left are the memories. But what if we created new memories? Nottingham Forest, formed in 1865, are not only one of the oldest football clubs in the world, they also have one of the greatest stories in the game. And this great story was authored by none other than the late, great Brian Clough. Having joined the club on the 6th of January 1975, he went on to exceed the whole world's expectations. He gained promotion from the English Second Division in his first full season, the 1976-77 season, then took the First Division by storm by winning it in the 1977-78 season. They also claimed a League Cup. To prove that their league title success was not a fluke, Nottingham Forest then went on to retain the League Cup in the 1978-79 season, but this time they also won the big one, the European Cup. Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest then went on to make further history by retaining the European Cup in the 1979-1980 season, being the second ever English team to do so. But how was this possible? How could a team within the space of 4 years go from playing in the second division of their country to being the league champions of their country, to picking up domestic cups in their country, but to also be back-to-back European champions? Well, this was only through the brilliance of Brian Clough and his assistant, Peter Taylor. The duo kept Nottingham Forest at the top, competing with the best from the late 70s till the late 80s. Their last on-field success saw them win the 1988-89 League Cup and then retain it in the 1989-1990 season. Till this day, this remains Nottingham Forest's last major trophy. Forest's dramatic rise and stay at the top ended in the early 90s, as in the 1992-1993 season, the first official Premier League season, they got relegated, and in a sad yet romantic manner, Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest were relegated, and this was his last season at the club, leaving them back where he found them in the English Second Division. The subsequent 30 years of Brian Clough's departure proved to be a roller coaster, including multiple changes in ownership, 20 managers in 23 years, and even a stint in the English third tier, which gave Forest an unwanted record of being the only team to win the European Cup and then subsequently play in the third tier of their country. After another managerial change, Steve Cooper proved to be the right man to regain Forest's Premier League status, as in the 2022 playoff final, Forest beat Huddersfield Town 1-0 to secure Premier League football back at the City Ground. After this promotion, Nottingham Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis had no plans of going back to the Championship. This was reflected in the investment they made in their first season up, and despite being mocked in the media, it proved to be effective, as a 1-0 win at the City Ground against second-placed Arsenal confirmed their Premier League survival for the 2022-23 season. And that brings us to the present day. The 2023-24 season has just kicked off, and with further investment from the Greek owner, bringing in players such as Morgan Gibbs-White, Odysseas Vlachodimos, and Ibrahima Sangare, it is clear that the intention is to build upon what they already have and to progress forward. And with that in mind, Mr. Marinakis made a phone call.
A warm welcome to you all. Without further delay, we are pleased to introduce your new manager.
Fancy seeing you here. I'll be honest, I didn't expect to be here today, as just a few hours ago, some of you may have seen that I was told I wasn't good enough. That I was told that I'm a failure, and I was told to leave Barcelona as I lost my job. But then only a few hours later, I got a phone call. I got a phone call from the German phenom himself, Marcel Savage, and he was like, my brother, I know you just recently got out of a job, but what do you think about Premier League? What do you think about Nottingham Forest? What do you think about reviving one of the biggest clubs in England, the sleeping giant? What do you think? And I was like, Marcel, you don't have to talk to me twice. You know, wherever you go, I go. And here we are. Welcome to Nottingham Forest. Welcome to the Nottingham Forest career mode in eafc 24 with Marcel Savage himself, and we all knew it was a matter of time until the German hit the Premier League, and here we are! Here we are! And nobody is safe. Before we take over the Premier League, we have to set out a way in which we're going to do that, setting out a tactical vision. We're going to do that later, actually, because we're going to approach this one very differently. Marcel Savage, very much a pragmatic manager, and we're firstly going to look at the squad, see the abilities of the players that we have, and then choose a tactical vision that best suits what we have. Starting off with the goalkeepers here. We have a couple of goalkeepers. I mean, really and truly, we're probably thinking that Vlachodimos and Turner maybe are the main goalkeepers that are going to be playing, and they both like rushing out. Turner specifically likes coming out and claiming crosses, but I look at the kicking, right? Because, you know, in the modern game, most teams like to play with a ball-playing goalkeeper, and none of our two main goalkeepers are good at that. And that may mean we may not be able to play like a tiki-taka style of play, or potentially even gegenpressing. Maybe gegenpressing we can get away with, but definitely not tiki-taka with those goalkeepers. I look at our left backs here, and they aren't left backs. Let's be real, they're all wing backs because none of them are great at defending. You know, they are decent going forward. Olaine is actually right-footed, which isn't ideal to play on the left as right-footed, you know, and Nuno Tavares is quick, and that's about it. His dribbling isn't too bad, but he definitely is more of a wing back. Looking at our center backs, and we have a lot of them, but not a lot of great ones, okay? There's a lot of center backs, and I'd probably say Niakate is the best. He definitely is the best at passing. None of the others can really pass. He also has a long throw trait, so that could be a bit of a weapon we may use in the attack. But yeah, he definitely is our best centre-back here, and definitely our best ball-playing centre-back. And the others are quite a way behind him, you know. So again, not having a ball-playing goalkeeper, only having one ball-playing centre-back, not having any left-back that can really defend. This really doesn't scream tiki-taka, does it? It really doesn't. I guess Felipe, you could argue, is the second best centre-back, or Bully, but none of them are good on the ball. I'll say this though, most of our centre-backs are great aerially. They are slow, but they are decent defenders, right? In tight spaces. And this very much screams a back three. It really does. Even looking at our captain, Joe Worrell, he's one of the worst centre-backs at the club, bro. He has a long passing trait, but his passing in general isn't that good. They have Andrew Omabamidele as well, who looks promising. You know, physically he is decent. He has decent pace. Not great at passing, but also good in the air. We only have two quick centre-backs, or decently quick centre-backs. Again, doesn't really scream playing a high line, so gegenpressing may not work. And doesn't really scream tiki-taka because, well, only one of them can pass a football. Looking at right back, I'd say the right back options are actually decent. You know, we have Nico Williams, we have Gonzalo Montiel, and we also have Serge Aurier. Montiel is probably the most complete right back we have. He is probably the only out-and-out right back we have, because Aurier, for me, although defensively isn't the worst, he is really prone to mistakes. Yeah, trust me, I know him from Tottenham. Yeah, I know the spawn, bro. Yeah, and he is decent at crossing. Again, Even the right back situation screams more wing back, and this whole defense screams a back three, or to those who are a bit more defensive, a back five. Looking at the midfield, there are a lot of midfield options, from defensive midfielders to central midfielders to a few attacking midfielders. And yeah, Forest just have a lot of players. Trust me, not everybody here is going to be involved. I mean, they have a squad that you think is competing in Europe in terms of numbers, but they're not. Ibrahima Sangare is definitely the best central midfielder. They have him here as a defensive mid, but for me, he's more of a central mid. I don't think he's an out-and-out defensive mid, but he has the best defending in the midfield. I guess that's why they just chuck him in at DM. He's also decent going forward in terms of driving forward with the ball. Cheiko Kuyate, for me, is just a worse version of Sangare, an older, worse version of Sangare. Similar type of player, but not as good. We then have Ryan Yates, and I see this guy and I'm already thinking of converting him to a centre-back. Because his defending is decent, he's 6'3", he's good in the air. He's not as mobile, and he's not mobile enough for me to be our defensive mid. And his passing isn't good enough to be our defensive mid. His dribbling isn't good enough to be our defensive mid. But I think he could be decent at centre-back, so we're going to train him up at centre-back. We have Nicolas Dominguez, who I think is a very, very good player, a two-footed player, very tidy on the ball, press-resistant, so he'll definitely get a look in the team. We then have Danilo. He is more of a defensive midfielder. Funny enough, I think this guy is more of a DM than Sangare, so we'll see what we can do there. We have Oral Mangala, who has very good dribbling. You know, he's very good at getting the ball and driving forward. You can see they also has the technical play style. So yeah, very exciting player there to see where we can find a spot for him in the team. We then have Andrew Santos, who's on loan from Chelsea. This guy has been struggling for game time just because of the numbers that Forest have. But we'll try to get him involved. We'll see where he fits in. And then we have the big man, Morgan Gibbs-White. Big money signing this guy is. And we're going to have to use him somehow because he's very promising. He has a lot of potential, but hasn't really picked up a position. You can see that even the positions he plays, he has multiple positions, right? Like, where are we going to fit him in? We'll see. But he's very technical. He is also physical. He's also hardworking. So he is good at a lot of stuff, but isn't outstanding at any. But definitely the talent is there, and we'll try to extract that. We have Atif Konate, who, I'll be real, from day one, I don't see him getting involved all that much. We also have Brandon Aguilera. Young player, but again, I don't see him getting too much game time. In the wings, we have Callum Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga, two youngsters from big clubs, Chelsea and Manchester United, respectively, and haven't really broken through there, so they've kind of moved to Forest, and we'll see where we can use them. Callum Hudson-Odoi over the years have suffered with injuries, and you see he's lost quite a lot of pace. He's still quick from the go, right? So his acceleration is decent and his dribbling is decent, but he's not that quick. So again, another player I'll be changing positions to here. He'll be moving more into a central attacking midfielder than a winger. I don't think he can quite do it on the wing. I mean, of course he can still play there, but I don't think that's where he'll be most effective. Anthony Elanga, on the other hand, will definitely be most effective on the wing because he is quick. He can beat a man, but then other than that, I don't know what else he can do, you know? So he really screams to me impact sub. Like, honestly, he just screams to me as a guy to bring on that has bags of pace that will just cause defenders problems in the final few minutes of games. In the striker department, of course, we have Chris Wood, we have Taiwo Awoniyi, and we have Divock Origi. Starting with Awoniyi, definitely our best striker, definitely our first choice striker, big physical striker. His finishing sometimes can be questionable, but he's been in good form recently, so he'll definitely be the first choice striker for us here. I mean, technically, he isn't great. He's that typical big brute of a striker who's also quick that can finish, you know, so we'll see how we can use him. Speaking of big brutes, here is Chris Wood, New Zealand international. Okay, the guy's a problem, bro. Physically, he's a problem, yeah? I mean, he's just there to just body defenders and bully them in the air. That's what he does. So I'm excited to see where we can use him as well. And we have Divock Origi, the more technical striker, not so physical, although still being quite tall. Not the most physical, not the greatest in the air, but a bit more technical, so a different kind of striker, on loan from Milan, of course. So we'll see where we'll be able to use him. But that's basically the squad. And This doesn't seem like a possession-based team. This doesn't seem like a high-pressing team either because of their centre-backs. You know, if you play a gegenpressing or even tiki-taka, you need to have quick centre-backs. Specifically with tiki-taka, you need to have quick centre-backs that are also good on the ball. The midfield is probably where I'm happiest with because we have different kind of options. We have different kinds of midfielders. Midfielders that are technical, midfielders that are physical, midfielders that can defend, others that can create, so on and so forth, right? So wing play is an interesting option. We don't have the best wingers. We only have Hudson-Odoi and Alanga, so not many wingers. Tiki-taka for me is out the window, fam. We're not going to be doing tiki-taka because we're just going to keep losing the ball in our own final third and keep conceding goals because we don't have the technical players to do that. So tiki-taka definitely not. And I'd say gegenpressing as well, definitely not because of how much we lack pace in the centre backs. We have Niakate and Omabamidele, and that's about it. We have decent pace. They aren't rapid, but they have decent pace. Park the bus. We may have to talk. We may have to talk, boys. I can't lie. We may have to talk. We have counter-attacking, which is one that I'm really thinking of because we have pace in the attack. That's the thing, right? Like, we kind of have to sit back potentially and break because we have the pace in Awani. If we throw in Alanga, we have the pace in Alanga. We have the tenacity of Morgan Gibbs-White as well. You know, Ibrahima Sangare can carry the ball forward. So counter-attack is an option, and so is kick and rush because our strikers are physical. Looking at Wood, looking at Awani, if we can hit the ball long, they can definitely hold it up. They can definitely win aerial duels, but I think I'm going to go with counter-attack. So with that said, we've drawn up 3 different formations for 3 different situations. We're starting things off here with a 3-2-3-2, essentially, or you could call it a 3-5-2 with 2 holding mids and a 10. And like I said, looking at the squad, this really screams out bag 5, and that's what we're going with. So currently we have Vlachodimos in goal, we have Niakate at left centre-back, we have Felipe centrally with Yates on the right. You saw we were developing Yates to be a centre-back. And I'm going to throw him in there ahead of Worrell and even ahead of Bowley because I think he can really take on that role and potentially thrive there. I think he's one of those players who, because of his experience in midfield, dropping him further back, can really, you know, give us a more of a ball-playing centre-back in that regard. So Yates drops in there and also becomes captain with Worrell out. Worrell, for me, ain't really that guy. We don't want to disrespect him because we just got here, right? And he is the captain, so he'll still remain club captain. And when he does play, he'll take the armband. But yeah, with him out, Yates takes the armband. In the midfield, we've gone with Dominguez and Sangare holding behind Morgan Gibbs-White. Again, we haven't seen this team in action, but we're kind of going for Sangare being the deeper player. I don't really want him to be in an ideal world, but he has the best defending at the team right now in terms of midfielders, right? So he'll have to stay back. We'll have Dominguez on the left. We'll have Gibbs-White, like I said, in front of them. We then have Tavares and Aurier as the wing backs. I've gone with Aurier ahead of Montiel just because he has better crossing. Simply that, right? Not complicated. And the 2 up front, of course, Awonigi and Wood with Origi on the bench. So let's look at the instructions here. So we're telling our goalkeeper to come on for crosses and to be a super keeper if ever anything spills out. For Sangaro, we're telling him to cut the passing lanes, to stay back and to cover the center because Dominguez will be going forward, so he has to be the deepest of the midfielders. Like we said, Dominguez will be going forward, so he'll be assisting Gibbs-White and the attackers. He'll also be covering the center when he does have to defend. Looking at the wing backs, Tavares, he has to stay wide. He has to get in behind the opposition defense. Stay wide to put in the crosses, get in behind, you know, to offer that option, and to also get into the box if the ball is on the opposite flank. So get into the box for crosses. Aurier has the exact same instructions, just on the right-hand side. So stay wide, get in behind, put crosses in, and to get into the box if the ball is on the left-hand side. Gibbs-White is going to be vital here because we're telling him to stay forward, so we're taking away that defensive responsibility from him. And we're telling him to free roam, so he'll have to pick up the spaces. He is the guy where we're like, fam, we are structured around you so that you can create for the 2 guys up top. And the 2 guys up top are, of course, Awani and Wood, who will just stay centrally and stay forward and really be a problem on the opposition defense. This formation is probably the most balanced out of the 3 that I'm going to show you guys. Definitely for the games where we feel like we have a chance, you know, not against the best, not against the worst. So definitely balanced. Of course, we're playing counter-attacking and we're going to pressure on heavy touch. So we're not necessarily sitting all the way back. If we see an opportunity to press, we will press. The depth will be 40 because of no quick center backs. We cannot play a high line without pace at the back, so we'll be slightly deeper. It may not be pretty to watch, but yeah, that's what we're going with. We have to go with long ball because we're going with counter-attacking. You see here, if we change the way we want to build up, it's going to change it from counter-attacking, so we'll stick with long ball. Similar thing here with the chance creation. It has to be forward runs, and I actually like forward runs because it means we get players forward quicker, you know? So that's great. Of course, we're going to be as wide as we possibly get, so we have the width there all the way to 95, and we're going to commit quite a few players in the box and from corners and free kicks. Here's the second tactic, a completely different one, a back four. Yes, a 4-3-3, but a very specific and very different 4-3-3. So in this situation, we have Niakate playing at left back. Yes, because we don't have a left back that can defend. We've already established this, right? So 4-3-3, Niakate at left back. We have Felipe at center back alongside Yates again, and this time the right back is Montiel. Montiel, because he's a better overall fullback than Aurier, so I think he can do the job much better, but then Aurier can also come in there and rotate with him, no problems whatsoever. In the midfield, we have Sangare, we have Danilo, and we have Dominguez. But we have Mangala, who can easily come in there for Danilo. We have Danilo there for now, but again, it depends on the form of the players, so on and so forth, what we need in any specific game. And the front three are, of course, Davaj, we have Awoniyi, and we have Gibbs White. Instructions, we have Niakate staying back. So this in possession is still going to be a back three because Niakate will stay back and he will invert, which means he'll be closer to the center backs, which will form a back three with the other two center backs. And that's going to be ideal because we'll have Montiel getting forward. So Montiel will be getting forward and he'll be overlapping and creating the width on our right-hand side of attack. This formation is definitely the most attacking one you guys are going to see today. It's also the most open one, the most risky one, but I'm very excited to see how this one plays out. In the midfield, we have a three of Sangare, same instructions, staying back, cutting passing lanes, and covering the center. And then the two players ahead of him, being Dominguez and Danilo for now, will be getting forward, they'll be getting into the box, and they'll be covering the center. So they will definitely be those classic number 8s box to box, going up and down in the attack. They help the attackers. In defense, they come back and help the defense. A very draining position. But yeah, this is just what you guys are going to have to do. So Dominguez on the right and Danilo on the left for now. Again, Danilo, exact same instructions as Dominguez. Like we said, Mangala can come in there, Santos can come in there and play that role as well. Davaj is on the left wing. He's essentially going to play like how he does in the back three formation, but this time in the attack. He is like the quickest left-footed player we have in the attack, so that's why we have him there. He can also stay wide, put in crosses once again for Awoniyi, who we have up top. Again, get into the box if the ball is on the opposite flank. So his instructions are not different at all. And with Niakate staying back, I'm not worried about that defensive situation on the left-hand side. And on the right, we have Gibbs White. Again, Gibbs White has the most unique role yet again here because, of course, the two wingers still come back to help out defensively, but he is once again instructed to free roam and to come short for the ball. Right, so here's what we're thinking. With Montiel getting forward and occupying their left back, right? With the two midfielders getting forward and occupying their midfielders, with Awoniyi up top occupying their centre backs, and Davaj on the left occupying their right back, Gibbs White is going to have the space. That's why we have him on the free roam. You're going to just find the space. You're going to be the guy that we're like, fam, once again, we're working hard. We're occupying the opposition defenders for you to find space and for you to create something. So once again, he's going to be key in this formation. Again, it's the most attacking formation, it's the most risky formation, but we're hoping that Gibbs White will make it worth it by creating chances and potentially getting us a couple of goals. Awoniyi, once again, will stay forward and will stay central, and we're hoping that he's just going to cause problems once again for the defense. In terms of the in-game tactics, the only difference is the width this time, but everything else stays the same. The last formation is the most defensive formation we have, the classic Coppin Savage. If you guys have watched the Schalke career mode, if you guys have watched the Roma career mode, you'll know about this formation. This is absolute terrorism, but we're here for it. We're playing a 3-1-4-1-1. Yes, that's what it's called. Yeah, 3-1-4-1-1, and here are the instructions. In the midfield, Sangare, once again, stays back, cuts the passing lanes, and covers the center. So the midfielders in this formation have the exact same instructions as the midfielders in the 4-3-3 because, well, it's the exact same midfield, right? So Danilo still on the left, exact same instructions of him covering the center, getting forward, getting into the box, and Dominguez on the right, once again, covering the center, getting forward, getting into the box, so on and so forth. So the instructions remain the same on that regard. And the instructions on the wing backs as well are going to remain the same from the first formation. So this is kind of like merging the previous two formations, but then it's like very defensive, you know? So again, Aurier at right wing back ahead of Montiel, Nuno Tavares on the left. His instructions basically never change. They're always the same in every formation, right? Again, stay wide, get in behind, put crosses into the box, get into the box. Again, with Aurier, the same as well. And Gibbs White, once again, has the free roaming role, and he is told to stay forward. So his instructions in this formation are similar to the instructions in the first formation. The difference is now we're playing with one striker up top and one extra midfielder. That's it, just for that defensive cover. Aoni, once again, to stay central, but this time we ask him to come back on defense because we want him to be in line with Gibbs White. So when we defend, we want to defend with a 5-3-2. You know, the two wing backs, of course, come back, the three in the midfield, and we want Aoni to come back and be in line with Gibbs White instead of staying forward and being like a 1-1, you know, yeah. So those are the instructions over there, and the tactics here are the exact same as that in the first formation. So that's how we're going to plan on playing this season. We've also hired a couple of coaches here, one in the attack, one in midfield, one in defense, and one in goalkeeper. So we're going to keep it like that for now, and we'll potentially add on the coaching staff in the next season. I don't want to overpower the coaches because I feel like it can easily get overpowered. You just hire all the best coaches and then, you know, all your players develop like crazy. So we're going to keep it at one in each department for this season. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Let's take a look at the objectives. What exactly Mr. Maranakis is going to be asking of us. In the youth development, they want us to sign 4 players, one in each position, basically one goalkeeper, one defender, one midfielder, one attacker for this season. I mean, I'm sure we'll be able to do that. Long-term, within 2 seasons, have at least 2 players from the youth team signed in the first season, play at least 30% of the games in the second season. So basically the players we signed this season in the academy, they want them to play next season. Fair enough, that's not too bad. Get a streak of 5 wins this season may be difficult. 5 wins in a row for Forest at the Prem. Yeah, that may be rough. And to sign one crucial first team player assigned to a forward position. So they basically want us to buy a big money forward in January. I mean, if you insist, you know, of course, no continental success. Domestically, they want us to finish mid-table, so just to be comfortable, not to be involved in any relegation conversations, and to reach a quarterfinal in the FA Cup. So they want a bit of a cup run. Maybe we can even get them to Wembley. Who knows? And financially, sell 2 players and sign 3 important players to replace them. Finish the season without any unspent transfer budget. I've never seen this one before. This guy's saying sell 2 players, buy 3, and fam, spend all the money, bro. He's like, bro, I don't even want to see a single penny left. Spend it all. I mean, wow, I'm loving this job already, fam. I'm loving this. Yeah. Okay, we have 2 youth scouts as well here. One, of course, will be going out to England. We'll be sending him out there for 9 months just to see what he can bring us across the country. And the other, for now, will be going to Wales for 3 months. And we will let's look for technically gifted players. Technically gifted players in Wales for 3 months. And yeah, let's see if we can already fulfill those objectives in terms of the youth department. And this is how our current youth team is looking. It isn't great. It isn't the best, but it's definitely diverse. There are a lot of different nationalities in here. But yeah, none of these guys really stand out. So hopefully the 2 scouts we just sent out can bring us a couple of talented players that we can involve in here as well. Oh, we have David. He's so good that they named him twice. Oh, interesting. David! He may have to get involved just for his name. But it's time to get serious. Okay, it's time to face the media for the first time here at Nottingham Forest. Time for Marcel to explain his plans, to set his goals for the season. And I think our goal this season is firstly to develop a style of play. You know, it's to get used to the players and understand the players and everything. And to secure safety as soon as possible. Because respectfully, we don't want to be involved in conversations with Luton, Sheffield United, Everton, Bournemouth. No! Not with Koppen Savage at the helm. No, we want to be aiming a bit higher than that, okay? And we know it's going to be difficult. And as soon as safety is confirmed, yeah, Pep, Klopp, Poch and Ange, you better step aside and make way for the man. Your days are numbered. And we all know that the Premier League is now the Gopin Savage Show. And we know our first game is against Arsenal. It's going to be a very, very tough game. But Nottingham are ready to rise and soar once more. So, Super Mick, we're coming. You massive fraud. First game at the Emirates. Coming up, in the first home game is against Sheffield United. We have a cup game chucked in there, and then we go to Old Trafford. So we're going to the Emirates, we're going to Old Trafford. Oh, and soon after that we go to the Bridge of Stamford. Wow, this is an insane story. Oh, and after that we go to Etihad. Bro, these away games are wild. These are wild, bro. And then we go to Selhurst Park. Again, a tricky place to go to. And then after that, we go to Anfield. Bro! Yo, our away schedule is hell, you know? It's actually hell, but this is the Premier League, bro. Yeah, no game is easy, and that's why we've chosen to be here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about today's episode. Let me know, are you as excited as I am? Because, boys, I am feeling re-energized. I'm feeling rejuvenated, and most important thing, I am employed again. So here we are. Yeah, drop a like on the video and subscribe as well. I'd greatly appreciate that. I've been Quickie Crusher. I'll see you guys next time.